Yes, Volodymyr Zelensky is absolutely not in a position at this stage to say that Ukraine would like to give up on its ambition to join NATO. Quite the reverse. I think the general trend of opinion in Ukraine is, following Vladimir Putin's speech, that it's not about NATO aspirations. Really, it's about Ukraine's very existence, and that the threat is more serious than that, and that any kind of concession on the idea of NATO membership would have just been appeasement. People use that word a lot here in Ukraine, that appeasement against Vladimir Putin is not going to work. And I think more and more people who might have been in favor of that kind of appeasement are coming round to the more hardline view, and Volodymyr Zelensky with them. He was speaking today alongside his Polish and Lithuanian counterparts. The parade of high-level visits to Kiev continues almost every day. There's some kind of high-level meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky. Poland and Lithuania, of course, have always been among the more hawkish EU member states, at least in terms of their rhetoric towards Russia. They have got a history, both of them, of being under Russian domination and feel that Russia is a threat. And so it's perhaps no surprise that they also signed, together with Volodymyr Zelensky, a declaration calling for Ukraine's EU membership bid also to be officialized, for it to be given a member candidate status. Now, I don't think Poland and Lithuania are really the most influential EU member states, particularly at the moment because of Poland's problems with Brussels over its abuse of the rule of law and authoritarian drift. So whether or not that declaration will really cut any ice in Brussels or lead to any movements is very doubtful. But of course, it is a symbolic gesture of support to Ukraine from two of its staunchest traditional allies.
And at the same time, Gulliver, we're hearing this news today that a state of emergency is being imposed across Ukraine. What does that mean?
Well, as Oleksiy Danilov, the Secretary of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council, who made the announcement, said, it really basically just gives the legal basis for measures to be introduced swiftly on a case-by-case basis, on a region-by-region basis, depending on the level of threat that is assessed. It can include increased security around strategic buildings and targets. It can also include limitations on people's movements, limitations on transport, potentially a curfew. But all of those measures, as he said, don't come into force automatically just when this state of emergency is declared. They can be introduced in certain places at certain times when the government feels it's necessary.